So my name is Priscilla Yavarino. I am 25 years old. I'm a first-generation American, daughter of immigrants, grad student, not done yet, and lifelong Texan. And I want to talk to you all a little bit about why I support Bernie Sanders. Not be so proud of, like our dependence on fracking, oil, and the countless Democrats that we have elected into office who continue to accept donations from corporations in the oil sector. In my opinion, these Democrats are not keeping true to their party values of placing our communities and our planet first, and this has gone on for far too long. I support Bernie because every major platform that he issued in 2016 has crept onto the platform of every other Democrat running for president. However watered down it may be.
And the thing that makes Bernie special amongst all the other candidates is that he knows what he's up against. He has no delusions. He has the experience in the trenches, in the cesspool of what is our political system today, and that will enable him, with the help of all of us, to successfully flush the crap down the drain.
Probably most importantly, I'm someone like you who plans to work like hell over the next 18 months to make sure Bernie Sanders is the next president of the United States. I'm also a mind reader. And right now, I bet you most of you are going, who the heck is this guy, by the way? Well, I have a student who works for the Bernie campaign and reached out by this student earlier this week. I said, hey, Craig, we're going to have this rally in Warren. You want to come? I said, sure. I was already planning on coming. And then she said, well, we had this meeting and we're looking for, I don't know, kind of like the dorky, middle-aged white guy. I said, why the hell did you call me? That was the joke. That was the icebreaker. What I'm really here to tell you is that I thought a lot this week when I was invited. I'm privileged to have the opportunity. I think the fact that I'm hearing a lot of feedback. You guys good? Do I need to back up a little bit? Is that better? So my main job is to make sure the mic works for Abdul, because I know everybody wants to hear Abdul talk. Now what I'm going to do is give you 3 reasons why I'm supporting Bernie Sanders and why I think we need to talk about and tell the world over the next 12 months leading up to the Michigan primary and then afterwards for the actual election. Reason number 1 for me, Bernie Sanders is a small d Democrat. What does that mean? He understands that rebuilding our democracy, a society where we, the people here, drive the agenda, not just a few rich folks, that is absolutely essential to the future of our nation and world. There's a few things you may know about Macomb County. I live in Oakland County, and there's Wayne County, and this is a really diverse, incredibly important region in so many different ways, and I appreciate being here in Macomb County. It's also one of the more misunderstood counties, I think, in the country in many respects. You may have heard of the so-called Reagan Democrats. You ever heard of them? Well, we shouldn't necessarily boo, because I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few folks here. If you didn't vote for Reagan, maybe you know somebody who did. And the fact of the matter is, all after 84 and 1980, when Reagan won those elections, all these political scientists went crazy trying to figure out what was going on in Macomb County. They coined the term Reagan Democrats because they were trying to figure out who were these people that were voting for Reagan who used to vote for Democrats, right? They had all these theories, these elitist misunderstandings of the good and decent folks that work and live here in Macomb County. What Bernie understands about what happened then is that no other Democratic candidate understands is the fact that those folks didn't leave the Democratic Party, but the party actually might have left them in the 80s. What he understood, and he understands now, and we saw this in 2016 when 54% of Macomb County came out to vote for Donald Trump. There's still a lot of disaffection and questions about the party. When the Democratic Party recommits itself to working people, the people will come back to the Democratic Party. Reason number 2, and I'm going to make it quicker. Bernie understands the main enemy we face today, as much as we may despise him, and we despise him very much, it's not Donald Trump. Our main enemy is something we could call Trumpism, or corporatism, or, God forbid, dare I say it, capitalism. Whatever we call it, and we can have those debates. What we do know is this: money has an incredibly unfair and unearned power in our society, and that needs to stop. Reason number 3, and I'll be done, why I support Bernie Sanders, and possibly one of the most important reasons of them all. Bernie understands that there's a weapon that the right has used over the decades for so long in this country, and it's called divide and conquer. They divide us, and they try and get us to divide ourselves, and then they conquer us through doing that. That is something that Bernie understands historically. We need to understand that, and we need to push back against that in every possible way we can as we build this campaign. And what Bernie says to us, and this is where I'll end, is that here's how we push back against divide and conquer. We build a diverse, broad-based, popular coalition that's multiracial, multi-generational, multi-religious, multicultural, multilingual, multi-ethnic, multi-able, multi-everybody coalition. And if we do that, here in Macomb County, in Wayne County, in Oakland County, in all the counties in Michigan, if we do that here, then no billionaire, whatever their name, will ever be able to defeat us again. Thank you.
My name is Monique Becker, and today I'm talking about money. I was born in Detroit and raised in the suburbs by mixed-race parents. I attended Birmingham Public Schools, where I learned alongside the children of millionaires while spending many evenings and weekends with my family in Brightmoor, one of the poorer neighborhoods on the city's west side. One day I could be with friends, swimming in pools with waterfalls, and the next playing in the street, getting wet by a hydrant outside my granny's house. I ate gourmet meals at a middle school party on Friday and bridge card hot dogs on a Saturday. To me, it was clear. Some folks lived comfortably, while other folks couldn't seem to escape the cycle of paycheck to paycheck, food stamps to food stamps, and the frustrating balancing act that was finding a low-paying job to uplift oneself, only to have our government support pulled from under them because they make too much. Huh? Fast forward. I'm a 25-year-old former school teacher turned real estate developer who lives, works, and invests in Detroit. Woo! I have worked on deals from tens of thousands to tens of millions. I have seen that money flows and money grows. For whom? Bernie Sanders knows. Income inequality and the increasing gap between the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots, reduces us all. I like Bernie because he speaks plainly, yet thoughtfully and sanely about the real issues facing our nation, hurting our states, cities, towns, and each human being, both inside and outside the United States, that is impacted by our government's decisions. A college education is no longer insurance against poverty. Rather, you get that degree and you get that debt. You get that debt and you realize...
His first act as mayor was to shut down plans for expensive condominiums that would have privatized the shore of Lake Champlain, and instead he turned the land into a park open to everybody. When he became my congressman, he personally took busloads of senior citizens over the border into Canada so they could buy prescription drugs at decent prices. Bernie, the trendsetter, who knew? He's already leading the country. Just look at all the other candidates that are following him. Thank you very much.
And I want to say a word to the young people who are here and the young people of this country. You are the most progressive, generation in the history of the United States of America. I am proud of you, and you should be proud of yourselves. You are the most anti-racist, anti-sexist, anti-homophobic generation in the history of this country. But there's something else. There's something else about the young generation, and that is, if we do not turn this economy around, for the first time in the modern history of our nation, your generation will have a lower standard of living than your parents. Now, there's something weird about that. We're seeing an explosion of technology. We're seeing an explosion in worker productivity, and yet everything being equal, the younger generation will have less income, they'll have more debt, they'll be less likely to afford a home. Well, I don't believe in downward mobility. I've got 7 grandchildren. I believe in upward mobility. And we are going to create an economy that works for all of us, including our younger generation. You know, the other day I was roundly criticized for saying something that I think is common sense. And that I think that every American citizen, because of their citizenship, should have the right to vote, even if they're in jail. So our view on voting rights is very simple. And that is, if you're an American citizen and you're 18 years of age, you have the right to vote. End of discussion. We're going to have to stand up and fight against some of the most powerful special interests in the world. The greed of corporate America and Wall Street and the insurance companies and the drug companies and the military-industrial complex and the fossil fuel industry is such that no president can do it alone. We're in this together. And when we talk about a political revolution, it means that in this unprecedented moment in American history, we all need to act in an unprecedented way. That means, this is what it means. It means going out and talking to your friends, even if they don't agree with you. It means getting people registered to vote for justice. Brothers and sisters, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Let's go out and do it. Thank you all very much.
Last year, there have been a string of court decisions striking down partisan gerrymanders. How are you involved in this?
Yeah, so I remember learning about gerrymandering in elementary school, actually, and asking my teacher, you know, if we know that it's broken, why don't we fix it? Where I got it's always been this way.
Right.
And it really bothered me. And that people recognize that politics is not working for the everyday person, especially in Michigan. And it hasn't been for decades. So until we start fixing some of these things, we are going to continue to be unhappy, and the people who suffer are the everyday people.
Perfected the art. It's Democrats, too. There's a case in front of the Supreme Court involving a Democratic district. It's really about incumbents not wanting a competitive election.
My vision for America is very, very different than Donald Trump's. And I want to say, I don't know the politics of this particular area of Iowa, but I do know that Trump won Iowa by a pretty good vote. And what I want to say to the people of Iowa and the people of Malcolm is I can understand, truly, why people did vote for Donald Trump. He talked about creating jobs for everybody. Remember that? He said, if you elect me president, I'm going to create jobs. I'm going to create health care for everybody. That's what he said. He said that he was a different type of Republican, that he was not going to cut Medicare or Medicaid. He said that he was going to bring forth tax reform that would not benefit the wealthy, but would benefit working families and the middle class. And what I simply want to say is that on all of those issues and many others, Trump was not telling the truth. The fact is, he has not brought forth a plan to provide health care to everybody. Quite the contrary. The plan that he supported would have thrown 32 million people off of the health insurance they have. And that is just a terrible thing. We got a dysfunctional healthcare system to begin with. And what happens to people who are thrown off the healthcare that they currently have? People who are struggling with cancer, heart disease, who just need to go to the doctor. Trump said that he would not cut Medicare and Medicaid. All of you should know. The ranking member of the Budget Committee, so I know a little bit about it. Trump's budget brought forth $1.5 trillion cut to Medicaid over a 10-year period. You know what that means? That means not only taking away health care coverage for kids and for lower income people, it means devastating nursing homes in America. Because if you have a mom or a dad who's dealing with Alzheimer's, who is very sick and is in a nursing home, who do you think is paying that bill now? By and large, it is Medicaid. You make $1.5 trillion cut to that program, it will decimate people's ability to have nursing home care for their loved ones. Trump said he would not cut Medicare. Well, his budget calls for an $850 billion cut to Medicare. Trump said his tax proposals would not be benefiting the wealthy. 83% of the tax breaks are going to the top 1%. So he simply did not tell the people the truth. And whatever you may also say about Donald Trump, and whether you agree with him, whether you don't agree with him, I think it is not a healthy thing for this country that we have a president who is a pathological liar, who lies all of the time. Now, I have friends who are conservatives. They are not liars. They believe what they believe, and that's called democracy. But when you have a president who every single day says one absurd or dishonest thing after another, that's not really what we need in the highest levels of government. Just give you one example. Some of you may have heard that just the other day, Donald Trump announced that wind turbines cause cancer. Now, so we were a little bit nervous about coming back to Iowa. You got all these wind turbines all over the place. But, I mean, that's just where he gets these ideas, God only knows. Okay, a gentleman from Alabama. All right. Anybody? Oh, my God. All right. All right. What you got?
All right. So I know you've expressed support for universal basic income in the past in your interviews, but there's this guy, Andrew Yang, that wants to give everybody $1,000 a month with a VAT tax. And I think to win the Democratic primary, you got to do that. You got to give everybody $1,000.
I got a better idea.
You won't do it?
Nope. Sorry you came all the way from Alabama. All right, here's the better idea. Okay. Okay. Here's the better idea, I think. I understand that idea. I have a better idea. And the better idea, I think, is that in a nation in which there is so much work to be done, just think about it. You got an infrastructure which is crumbling. We can put millions of people to work doing that. Transforming our energy system in terms of weatherizing homes all over this country, building a more efficient energy transportation system, putting more money into wind and solar and other sustainable technologies. We can create millions of jobs doing that. Think about daycare. You want a world-class child care center? You need well-educated, well-trained, well-paid child care workers. We need many of them. We need more doctors in rural areas and in urban areas. We need more nurses. We have a dental crisis all over this country. We need to train dentists and get them out there. We need more social workers. You want to reform our criminal justice system? Well, you're going to need people to start working with prisoners. You want kids not dropping out of high school? You're going to need mentors working with them. There is an enormous amount of work to be done. All right. All right, Malcolm, this was great. I mean, this is, I think, this is the 9th town we've been to. This is the smallest town, I believe. It's a great turnout. Thank you all very much for being here this afternoon.